Welcome to Shrimanji. Ladies and gentlemen, esteemed guests, and lovers of music, today, we embark on a journey through the life of a man whose name has become synonymous with the very soul of pop music, a man who danced and sang his way into our hearts, Michael Jackson. He was more than just a musician, he was an icon, a legend, a man whose talent was as infinite as his imagination. It all began on August 29, 1958, in the small town of Gary, Indiana. A boy was born into a large family, 9 children, to be exact. His name, Michael Joseph Jackson. Now, if you've ever tried to imagine a family dinner at the Jackson household, picture this: 9 kids, 1 dining table, and a whole lot of noise. But amidst the chaos, there was something magical happening: music. The Jackson family wasn't just any family. They were a family with rhythm, a family with a beat. It was in the modest home of Catherine and Joe Jackson that Michael, along with his brothers, began to nurture a talent that would eventually take the world by storm. Their father, Joe, a steelworker by day and a strict disciplinarian by night, recognized this talent early on. With a dream of his own, he pushed his sons into the world of music. The Jackson 5 was born. Michael, just a little boy at the time, was thrust into the limelight as the lead singer of the group. But boy, did he shine. With a voice that seemed to carry the innocence of youth and the depth of a seasoned artist, Michael stole the show. Songs like "I Want You Back" and "ABC" became instant hits, and suddenly, the world couldn't get enough of this pint-sized performer with the voice of an angel. As Michael grew, so did his talent. The Jackson 5 was just the beginning. By the time he was 13, Michael Jackson had already begun his journey as a solo artist. It was a path that would lead him to unprecedented heights, a path where he would moonwalk his way into history. In 1979, Michael released his first adult solo album, Off the Wall. The world was introduced to a new Michael, a Michael who could make you dance, make you groove, and make you feel alive. The album was a massive success, with hits like "Don't Stop," "Till You Get Enough," and "Rock With You" dominating the charts. It was clear, Michael Jackson was not just another pop star. He was a phenomenon. But little did we know, the best was yet to come. Chapter 3, The Thriller. And then, in 1982, it happened. The world was about to be taken over by a phenomenon so massive, so thrilling, that it would change the music industry forever. That phenomenon was none other than Thriller. Now, let's pause for a moment. Can you remember the first time you heard Thriller? The iconic bass line, the eerie feeling that crept up your spine, and then, bam! Michael Jackson's voice, cutting through the darkness like a ray of light. And who could forget that music video? It wasn't just a music video, it was a short film, a masterpiece of storytelling, choreography, and, yes, horror. Michael turned into a werewolf, danced with zombies, and somehow made it all look cool. Who else could pull that off? Thriller wasn't just an album, it was a cultural revolution. It became the best-selling album of all time, with over 100 million copies sold worldwide. Hits like "Billie Jean," "Beat It," and, of course, the title track, Thriller, became anthems of a generation. Michael Jackson was no longer just a musician, he was the king of pop. But beneath the glitz and the glamour, beneath the sequined gloves and the moonwalks, there was a man who was deeply introspective, a man who constantly sought to better himself and the world around him. Man in the Mirror, released in 1988, was more than just a song. It was a call to action, a reminder that change begins with us. Michael was a humanitarian at heart. He used his fame and fortune to support numerous causes, from children's hospitals to HIV/AIDS research. He believed in the power of love, the power of healing, and the power of music to bring people together. In a world often divided by race, religion, and politics, Michael Jackson's music was a unifying force, a reminder that we are all part of the same human family, and let's not forget his love for children. Michael was often criticized for his eccentricity, his Neverland Ranch, his collection of exotic animals, his friendships with children. But at the heart of it all was a man who never wanted to grow up, a man who found joy in the innocence and wonder of childhood. He once said, "Before you judge me, try hard to love me." Perhaps that is the lesson we should all take to heart. Of course, no story about Michael Jackson would be complete without addressing the controversies that surrounded his life. From his changing appearance to the numerous allegations of misconduct, Michael's life was often a media circus. He was both loved and vilified, adored and scrutinized. Let's talk about his appearance first. Over the years, Michael's skin became lighter, his features more delicate. The world speculated, was it surgery, a desire to look different, or something else? In truth, Michael suffered from vitiligo, a condition that causes the skin to lose its pigmentation. But in a world obsessed with looks, his changing appearance became fodder for tabloids and late-night comedians. Michael once said, "I'm just like anyone. I want to be loved and accepted." Yet, he was often anything but. And then there were the allegations. Michael Jackson was accused of things so dark, so damaging, that they threatened to overshadow his legacy. While he was acquitted of all charges, the court of public opinion remained divided. Some believed in his innocence, others did not. But one thing is clear, these accusations took a toll on Michael, both emotionally and physically. By the late 1990s and early 2000s, Michael's life had begun to unravel. The pressures of fame, the legal battles, and the constant media scrutiny took their toll. He became more reclusive, more withdrawn. The world watched as the king of pop seemed to fade away, a shadow of his former self. But even in his decline, Michael Jackson remained an enigma. He continued to work on music, to plan for a comeback that, tragically, would never fully materialize. His final years were marked by a mixture of hope and despair, of dreams unfulfilled and battles fought in silence. And then, on June 25, 2009, the music stopped. Michael Jackson, the man who had moonwalked into our hearts, was gone. His death was sudden, shocking, and heartbreaking. The world mourned the loss of a true legend, a man who had given us so much joy, so much music, and so much magic. In the days and weeks that followed, tributes poured in from around the globe. Fans gathered outside his home, his star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, and at the gates of Neverland Ranch. The world came together to celebrate the life of a man who had touched so many lives, a man whose music will live on forever. But let us remember Michael not just for the controversies, not just for the scandals, but for the joy he brought into our lives. Let us remember the boy from Gary, Indiana, who had a dream and followed it all the way to the top. Let us remember the man who gave us Thriller, Billie Jean, and Beat It, the man who made us believe in the power of music. Michael Jackson's legacy is one of unparalleled talent, of groundbreaking creativity, and of a life lived in the spotlight. He broke barriers, shattered records, and redefined what it means to be a pop star. His influence can be seen in the music of today, from the beats of hip-hop to the choreography of modern pop stars. But more than that, Michael Jackson's legacy is one of love. He loved music, he loved his fans, and he loved the world. He believed in the power of love to heal, to bring people together, and to change the world. In the end, Michael Jackson was a man with flaws, with dreams, with struggles. But he was also a man who left an indelible mark on the world, a mark that will never fade. His music, his message, and his spirit live on in all of us. The moonwalk continues, so, as we reflect on the life and legacy of Michael Jackson, let us remember him not just as the king of pop, but as a man who dared to dream, a man who danced to the beat of his own drum, and a man who, despite all the odds, made the world a little brighter, a little more magical.